NVIDIA's AI servers are now reaching $1 million, and most companies are already out. Not because they lack engineers, not because they lack ideas, but because they simply can't afford to enter the system. And this is where the story breaks. Because for years AI looked open, anyone could build, anyone could compete, but that model was never real. AI is no longer software, it's infrastructure. And infrastructure has one rule: it filters who can participate. And if you think this is just about expensive hardware, it gets much worse. Take a single AI server, not a full data center, just one system. Today, that server can cost close to $1 million. Now multiply that. Hundreds of servers, sometimes thousands. This is not optional. This is the baseline to train competitive models. And this is where most companies disappear. But here's the real shift. This is not about AI anymore. This is about capital. Because once infrastructure reaches this price level, innovation stops being the constraint. Money becomes the constraint. And once money becomes the constraint, access becomes restricted. And that's where the system starts concentrating power. The industry still talks about AI as if it were accessible, as if innovation alone was enough. But that only worked when compute was relatively available. That condition is gone, and almost nobody has adjusted to that reality yet. Demand for AI compute is exploding. Every company wants to train bigger models, faster models, more capable models. But supply is not keeping up. And this is where things get uncomfortable. Because high-end GPUs are controlled by a single dominant player. Production depends on extremely limited semiconductor capacity. And global restrictions are tightening access even further. This creates a structural bottleneck. More demand. Less available supply. Prices don't stabilize. They explode. And this is only the visible layer. AI demand is scaling faster than any infrastructure in history. Training a single advanced model now requires tens of thousands of high-end GPUs. Each of those GPUs costs between $30,000 and $40,000. Put them together into a full server system, including networking, cooling, and integration. And the cost climbs close to $1 million. This is not a premium setup. This is the new baseline for competitive AI. And here's the part that most people miss. And this is where the system starts to break. Because the supply of these GPUs is not scaling at the same speed. NVIDIA controls the high-end segment. And production capacity is limited by advanced semiconductor manufacturing. At the same time, export restrictions are reducing global availability, which means fewer chips for more demand. This creates a simple dynamic. Demand explodes. Supply is constrained. Prices go up, and not slightly. Orders of magnitude. And once that happens, the system starts filtering automatically. A full AI server can now reach $1 million in restricted markets. Even in less constrained environments, costs are rising fast. Compare that to a typical company. Most companies don't invest $10 million in infrastructure. Some will never generate that in their entire lifetime. Now imagine what it means to build an AI cluster. You don't need one server, you need hundreds. This is no longer a technology problem. It's a capital problem. And this is where the real filter appears. Only companies with billions in available capital can scale AI infrastructure. Everyone else has two options: rent or stay out. And if you rent, you don't control anything. This is the economic gate. The more AI scales, the more infrastructure it requires. The more infrastructure it requires, the more capital it needs. The more capital it needs, the fewer players can compete. Scaling gives constraint, gives cost, gives exclusion. Most companies are locked out, and the ones that can afford it, They don't just use AI, they control it. And this is where the system flips. Because once AI infrastructure reaches this cost level, the market stops being competitive. It becomes gated, not open, not dynamic, closed. Only companies with massive capital can scale. Only companies with billions available can build. Everyone else is forced into dependency. They rent compute. They rely on external infrastructure. They lose control. And once you lose control, you stop competing. The bottleneck is no longer hidden, it's pricing. And pricing is controlled by whoever owns the supply. This is how power concentrates, not through better models, not through better ideas, but through control of infrastructure. When the cost of entry reaches this level, most companies are locked out, and the few that remain don't just compete. They define the system, because in AI, money doesn't just buy capability, it buys access, and access becomes control. And once control is centralized, the system no longer belongs to everyone. It belongs to the few who can afford it. And this is the industry code.